Right now, as you watch this, your heart is preparing for the most dangerous part of its entire day. Not the afternoon. Not the evening. The morning. Between 7 and 11 a.m., blood pressure peaks, stress hormones surge, and blood becomes its thickest and most prone to clotting, all at the same time. Dear Alexandra Korotsi, a board-certified cardiothoracic surgeon, calls the early morning hours one of the most dangerous times of the day for your heart. And yet most people spend those exact hours doing 7 specific things that make every single one of those dangers dramatically worse. Today we are going through all 7 of them, with the science behind each one. Number 3 will be uncomfortable, because 90% of people do it every single morning without realizing what it does to their heart. Habit number 1, hitting the snooze button. It feels so harmless. You hit snooze, you get 9 more minutes, you feel slightly more rested. But here is what is actually happening inside your body during those 9 minutes. When your alarm goes off, your brain begins the process of waking up, cortisol and adrenaline start rising, heart rate increases, blood pressure begins climbing. When you hit snooze and force yourself back into light sleep, that process is interrupted and then restarted 9 minutes later. And again. And again. Each restart is a fresh cortisol and adrenaline surge. Each one spikes your blood pressure and heart rate before your feet have even touched the floor. According to Dr. Michael Genovese, Chief Medical Advisor at Ascendantly, hitting snooze repeatedly breaks natural sleep cycles and stresses the cardiovascular system, raising both blood pressure and heart rate as a direct result. You are not getting rest during those snooze minutes. You are subjecting your heart to repeated physiological stress responses during the hours when your cardiovascular system is already at its most vulnerable. Habit number 2, skipping morning water. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is dehydrated. You have lost fluid through breathing, sweating, and normal metabolic processes throughout the night. And dehydration has a direct and documented effect on your blood. It becomes thicker, more viscous, and significantly more prone to forming clots. At the same time, morning platelets are naturally more active and adhesive, a normal part of your circadian rhythm. Combine thick dehydrated blood with sticky platelets during the peak morning blood pressure window, and you have created precisely the conditions that lead to arterial clots and heart attacks. Dr. Genovese states clearly that skipping water in the morning makes the heart work harder and raises heart attack risk because overnight dehydration thickens the blood. The solution is the simplest possible action. Drink a full glass of water before you do anything else. Before coffee. Before your phone. Before anything. Habit number 3, checking your phone immediately. This is the one that 90% of people do within the first 5 minutes of waking. And it is one of the most cardiovascularly damaging things you can do during those first critical minutes. When you reach for your phone and begin scrolling through news, social media, emails, and notifications, your brain's stress response activates immediately. Cortisol and adrenaline are released within seconds. Your heart rate and blood pressure rise in direct response to the psychological stress your brain is processing. Dr. Genovese describes it precisely. Checking your phone first thing causes stress, triggering cortisol and adrenaline surges that directly stress the heart. And this is happening while your cortisol is already naturally at its morning peak, while your blood pressure is already climbing, and while your blood is still thickened from overnight dehydration. You are adding a psychological stress trigger on top of 3 physiological vulnerabilities that already exist. Try waiting just 20 to 30 minutes. Stretch, hydrate, breathe. Your heart will experience a measurably different morning. Habit number 4, drinking coffee before water. Caffeine increases sympathetic nervous system activity, raises catecholamines, transiently elevates blood pressure, and promotes vasoconstriction, meaning your blood vessels narrow. In isolation, this is manageable for most healthy hearts. But in the morning, you are not starting from a neutral baseline. You are starting from a state of dehydration, elevated cortisol, rising blood pressure, and sticky platelets. According to the Akosha Center for Integrative Medicine, when caffeine is combined with morning dehydration and the natural cortisol surge, it further increases vascular resistance and blood viscosity at precisely the wrong time. Coffee is not the enemy. Caffeine is not inherently dangerous for most people. The issue is the timing and the physiological context. Hydrate first. Give your body 20 minutes to stabilize. Then have your coffee. That single change in sequence meaningfully reduces your morning cardiovascular risk. Habit number 5, skipping breakfast. A Mendelian randomization study, the gold standard of causal research, analyzed data from across multiple large cohorts and found direct causal evidence that skipping breakfast increases the risk of coronary heart disease and myocardial infarction. A 16-year prospective cohort study showed that men who skipped breakfast had a 27% higher risk of developing coronary heart disease compared to those who ate breakfast. A meta-analysis of over 2.3 million participants confirmed a significant relationship between skipping breakfast and increased cardiovascular disease risk. The mechanisms include impaired insulin secretion, elevated pro-inflammatory markers, increased LDL cholesterol levels, and dysregulated blood sugar, all of which compound existing morning cardiovascular vulnerability. You do not need a large or elaborate breakfast. Oatmeal, a boiled egg, whole grain toast, a piece of fruit. Something. The evidence is now causal, not merely correlational. Skipping breakfast is a documented cardiovascular risk factor. Habit number 6, jumping into intense exercise immediately. Exercise is one of the most powerful things you can do for your heart. But timing matters enormously. During the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking, cortisol is already elevated, blood pressure is already climbing, blood is already thicker, and your cardiovascular system is in its most physiologically stressed state of the day. Layering intense physical exertion onto all of those existing vulnerabilities, heat training, heavy lifting, sprinting, forces your heart to handle an extreme workload at precisely the moment it is least prepared for it. CK Böhler Hospitals and EMC Healthcare both advise avoiding intense physical activity within the first 30 to 60 minutes of waking. Sit up slowly. Stretch. Let your heart rate normalize. Allow your body to transition from sleep to wakefulness before demanding peak cardiovascular performance from it. Habit number 7, skipping your blood pressure medication. This is the most dangerous habit on this list, and it specifically applies to the tens of millions of people who have been prescribed blood pressure or cardiovascular medication. Blood pressure naturally reaches its highest point of the entire day between 7 and 11 in the morning. This is the same window when heart attacks and strokes are statistically most likely to occur. Blood pressure medication is designed and dosed specifically to control blood pressure during this dangerous morning peak. When you skip it, even once, because you were rushing, because you forgot, because you thought one day does not matter, you are leaving your cardiovascular system unprotected during its highest risk hours. The European Heart Journal has documented the direct relationship between uncontrolled morning blood pressure and cardiac events. Dia. Korotsi emphasizes that people with uncontrolled blood pressure are most vulnerable precisely during these morning hours. If you take cardiovascular medication, take it at the same time every morning, before the morning peak reaches its maximum. Discuss the exact optimal timing with your cardiologist, because for some medications, timing is as important as dosage. Here is the single most important thing I want you to take from this video. None of these 7 habits feel dangerous when you are doing them. That is precisely what makes them so consequential. They feel like a normal morning. They feel like everyone's morning. And statistically, they are. But your heart is under real, measurable, documented physiological pressure every single morning between 7 and 11, and these 7 habits amplify every aspect of that pressure simultaneously. Drink water first. Wait 20 minutes before your phone. Eat something. Take your medication. Let your body wake up before you push it. Small adjustments. Made consistently. Every morning. That is what protects the heart that has been beating for you every single second of your entire life without ever asking for anything in return. See you in the next video.
Yeah, we did it! Thanks for subscribing!
That's a brief look at Health Explained. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.